Welcome to Tuesday's Tips from Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and today's tip is a very simple tip, and it's all about identifying the back and the front of fabrics that look the same, especially when we come to sewing them together. So there are fabrics out there that look very similar from the front side to the back side, and a lot of them it won't matter, but if it does matter, we would like to keep the front to the front and the back to the back. Batiks definitely fall in that category. Some batiks will have a front and a back, and some you can use them either way. I find the best way to find the front and the back is to find one part on the design, and I like to find a darker point, put my finger where that dark point is, turn it over, and see which side is darker. The lighter colors are usually put on first, and then the darker colors are layered on. Now if you have something that's very light, you just need to find a pattern or some mark on that pattern. Put your finger, and I love it if you can get little dots, and flip it over and see which color is the darkest. The darker side is usually the right side, but it doesn't mean you need to use it that way. Whatever side you want, you really can use. But in this case, this black is a little bit gray on this side, where it is a little bit darker right here on this side. It's really hard to see on the camera, but I can see it when I hold it up to the light. So as I'm cutting this up to make a quilt, it's very hard to see what's one and what's the back. So I mark the back. And this is a darker fabric, so I'm going to use something lighter. You can get chalk, even wax chalk that steams off, and I just put marks along the back. Now when I cut up these strips, I'm going to have some markings. If you're cutting up tiny strips, you're going to need more marking than if you're going to do just long strips. You can also use charcoal markers, and your dark chalks would look better on your lighter fabric. I would definitely recommend to be very careful if you're going to use these air erase markers, just for the fact that if you don't get to that project within a couple of days, those marks do disappear. So for darker fabrics, I do like to use some kind of a wax chalk, and you can even get one that irons out. And I just mark the backs of my fabric. I'm not going to see that when the project is done, but it definitely helps me identify the front to the back. It's a simple little tip, but when you have all of this fabric cut up, those little marks definitely make your life and your sewing a whole lot easier. So if you have a fabric that's light, you can definitely use chalk, and it just brushes off over time. Besides, you're not going to be able to see it. But if you have a dark fabric, white chalk will work great. Just marking anywhere on the back is going to help us identifying it when we get it together. A lot of times when we do cut our fabrics, we fold them in half, and we'll cut those long strips and then cut out the pieces. So we have one face side up and one face side down. So after a while, they're easy to get mixed up, and we're sewing with the back side up and the right side down. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe on my Facebook, Instagram. I do have a newsletter, all under Sew Very Easy. Thanks again for joining me. Bye for now.